Hi, this is Robert Clinkenbeard and David Anderson with the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. We're going to take 20 minutes of your life to deliver some amazing content from accomplished leaders and business owners to provide you some value, to help you scale your business, to become a better father, and push yourself to higher goals personally. We hope you really enjoy these shows, and we really encourage you to share this with your friends and network to help share these messages. I'm super excited to announce a new partnership we have with Site Recon. If you're tired of measuring properties, the Site Recon platform fully automates the measurements so you can then focus on sales. Think measurements, think Site Recon. John Munie, really happy for you to join me today in this Commercial Landscapers podcast. Thank you again for being here and you're taking your time.
My pleasure, Robert. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to see you. I haven't seen you for a while. So I've known you for probably 2, maybe 3 years now, but I know you're the owner of Focal Pointe Outdoor Solutions. You've been on different boards. You were part of the Spire board membership as well. So you're very accomplished over the years. So tell me a little bit about some of the big, I suppose, momentous steps that you've taken over the years just to get your company to where it's at today.
Well, I often joke that, after 22 years, I failed my way to success, right? I think anybody that tells you that there's a magic bullet to success doesn't understand how success works, particularly if you're not clear on how you define it, right? But I can tell you that there are some steps, or some times where you look back that were difference makers. In 2008, I was actually driving out to, I think it was 2008, Columbus. So before NALP went to Louisville, they used to bounce around to different cities, and this particular year was in Columbus, Ohio. And on the drive out from St. Louis, I was listening to Good to Great by Jim Collins. And one of the things that he was talking about was the right people on the bus and the right seat, and how the great companies that really make it to great, they get the right people on the bus and they develop a sense of security around each other that they can debate passionately about topics and leave at the end of the debate, banging the table, barking at each other, and know that they're family, right? That they're in a good spot because they care so much about the right solutions. And that was probably an aha moment for me, because before that, I made the mistake of hiring a resume. Oh boy, this person comes from this background, or they have this degree, or right? And that none of that matters. I mean, at some point you need some degree of technical skill, but ultimately you need people who align with your vision for your company and align with whatever culture that may be, right? And another thing that Jim Collins talked about in that book is that the great companies are more like hedgehogs than they are. I think the other animal is fox, right? That a fox is got the cool hip idea and they're gonna hit the home run and blah blah blah, right? And the hedgehogs, they think about 3 things. What am I wildly passionate about? What can I be the best in the world at? And what can drive my economic engine? Well, that kind of simples it down quite a bit. And I was always kind of clear on what I was passionate about. I loved delighting my customers. I wanted the straightest lines. I wanted to look like I picked up the trees and mowed under them. I wanted the little piece of trash at the back corner of the property picked up. I wanted to straighten the chairs around the pool. I wanted to put the newspaper at the door. I wanted to provide a unique experience for my customers that they weren't getting from anyone else. And I think I was best in the world at that, in a figurative type of way. I actually had a competitor tell me one time, I drive my crews around and point out just by look which properties are yours.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I think I was pretty good at that. And when I say keep in mind, it started just me and the pickup truck and all that stuff.
Well, let me ask you a question around that, because obviously I can see your passion, I can hear your passion, but everybody has challenges, and not only finding people to fit into your culture, but then how do you then share your passion, so it goes right the way down to all the, really important field workers, that to either share that passion and for their actions to represent your passion. How do you do that?
Well, they have to believe in the vision. So, if you have a vision for your organization, some people that you see out mowing, what their hedgehog concept is and what their vision is might be, we want to be the cheapest, fastest mowers in the world, right? Quality, maybe so-so, service so-so, but there's a niche for that. You might have a company that's their deal. And if they can get a bunch of people on the line behind that, my guess is they're going to be successful, provided that there's a client that values that, right? So I think it's all about, getting that alignment within your mind of what you want to be great at, and then also clarifying that focus for your people and making sure you hire people that are inherently attracted to that vision, whatever that vision might be. So we have a super big, aggressive vision statement that's more meant for internal purposes than it is external, because it sounds less than humble, and we take great pride in being very humble, service-minded people. But our vision statement is to be the most trusted and admired land care company in the world. Okay, and again, that's not to offend any of your listeners, or I'm not taking anything away from them. It's not intended to be less than humble. But when you bring someone in and you talk to them about that, and you ask them, what do you think that means? How do you behave on properties when you hear that? Or how do you interact with your coworkers? Or when you have to make a difficult decision, or a decision that requires discipline to do the right thing, or you can do the easy thing, what choice you're going to take when you're living in a company that thinks like that? Man, that really helps, right? So I think, a vision statement is intended to stretch, right? You should not be easily capable of achieving that vision, right? And so I think for us, it's strictly an internal statement that guides our behaviors and how we treat our customers, how we treat our vendors, how we treat our people, and the good quality people are going to be attracted to that vision. And I think that's how you get them bought into it. You help it. It needs to become as much part of their fabric as it is yours.
Yeah. And what type of things do you do to reinforce that? Because again, through my experience, you'll give them the message or a town hall or something, they'll go out, they'll be all inspired. And then after a couple of weeks of, hard work, then that's enthusiasm will wane off. So, you go through those waves of enthusiasm. So what do you do to reinforce that so that you get consistent? Effectively, you're looking for really high, consistent quality.
What level are you losing your enthusiasm at? Do that? Right. Want that to be a rhetorical question? If I'm losing that enthusiasm at the crew level, then I think it's a fair question to their crew leader, right? If the crew leaders lose enthusiasm, then you need to ask the ops manager. And then, they're teamed up with an account manager. Is the account manager making the ops manager's job hard? Blah, blah, blah. And then branch manager, right? So where's that enthusiasm dropping, and why is that not being sustained? But also I think there's things that we do that tell our people that we care about them beyond the transaction, right? There's a transaction that takes place where employees provide their skill, right, and their time in exchange for compensation. That's a transaction. But I think in your most healthy relationships, it's beyond the transaction. That you can look at someone and feel what they're thinking without them having to articulate it, right? And that's something that we're working with our managers on all the time, is to improve on their emotional quotient, their EQ, right? I think most managers that get promoted to that level, they understand the blocking and tackling of how to get work done. That's kind of what they hang their badge on, right? That they were outstanding crew leaders, and they want to prove that they have what it takes to show other people how to be good crew leaders. And they understand that production piece. What we find is that, and this isn't just ops managers, this is throughout organizations, and I see it when I go to restaurants, I see it when I shop in stores. There is a need for us to teach people how to inspire those that report to them, right? How to help people make the vision or make their job their own, and then hold themselves accountable to that performance standard rather than the performance standard established by their supervisor. Because if it's my idea, I'm going to own it and I'm going to be passionate about it. If it's your idea, I'm going to do it because you told me to do it, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be passionate about it.
Right.
So we try to extract that from our people and say, how do you see this job? Under this vision, what do you think this job should entail? And you tell me, and more times than not, their standards are higher than what I would have asked of them.
That's awesome. What type of checks and balances, though, do you have? Because, again, I've been in a situation where I get some great lip service from, my supervisors, my field staff. They tell me the quality is there, but in some ways I've been burnt sometimes where there's been chaos out the field, the quality is slipping. So what type of checks and balances do you place within your company? Make sure that it's almost like confirming that what you're doing is the right thing, that the people in the field are doing what they're saying they're doing.
Well, our motto at Focal Point is, we have four core values. We put people first, we create our future, we embrace results, we inspire communities. And then our tagline is that when trust matters. So, that's really a call to life, right? You can make choices out in the field. Think about it. We're like one of the few industries that people come into work at 6:30 in the morning, and we're wanting them to get out of our circle of influence as fast as possible, right? Get off the lot, right? Yeah, go. We're wanting these people to get away from us and go do their work and carry on that value structure. I guess the way we measure that, it depends on what you're looking for. As far as them using their time wisely, we measure their efficiency on jobs, right? As far as them doing their job safely, we of course track that too. Incidents have to report the moment they happen. A text goes out to all our crews that this took place. There's a safety meeting that takes place the next day that undresses why it happened, all that stuff, right? And then as far as that enthusiasm or those extra, that things aren't becoming unraveled, I think that's a client feedback piece, right? You can tell when things aren't going right. An accounts receivable report is a pretty telling lagging indicator that clients are unhappy, right? Better than that, and given a little bit of a plug to your team, Pam Stark does customer satisfaction surveys, third-party customer satisfaction surveys. I don't understand why every company that has access to her service doesn't utilize that and build the client experience based on that feedback that they get through that third-party service. It is one of the most valuable tools that we've used in building our strategic plan in the off season, communicating our weaknesses with our customers. Hey, this is what we're really good at, but this is what you told us we have to be better at, and what we're not the best in the country in right now. We owe this to you to get better at this, and we're going to. And here's the things we're going to do this year, and I want you to hold us accountable to these things when the survey comes out in the fall of next year, right? If you're willing to be accountable to that level and get the feedback that Pam can get for you, it's an unbelievable tool. But I really feel like we have a culture here where the team, nobody wants to be that guy or that lady that gets a negative comment from a customer or coworker. It's just not who we are. You're not. It's just not acceptable behavior, right? We're interested in the continual statements of, I can't get over how professional your guys are, or how nice they are, or how they throttle down when I walk by on a sidewalk, or, you know, they were so good with the kids around. You know, like that's the rich stuff. That's the part that puts you different than everybody else. And that's the space we like to play in.
That's great. And I assume from what you're saying, between the surveys and between the culture that you've instilled within the company, I mean, there's probably employees who join your organization and almost immediately become uncomfortable if they're not buying into that type of culture. They're almost like weeding themselves out.
Yeah.
Because there's all that peer pressure. Is that fair saying that?
Yeah, that is true. I also think when we've had that, you know, like we've had people leave the job before, you know, like, this is too hard. You guys expect too much. I had a guy drive out of here. This has been several years ago, but, you know, he said, "You're too, you know, insert proper core language, picky." And, you know, then he gets in his car and he throws his uniform shirt out of the window as he's throwing rocks, you know, like we have people that are very uncomfortable with that standard of performance, right? To be fair to those people, we did them a disservice in the hiring process. We did not do a good enough job of helping them understand the expectations, what it means to work here, how we live our culture, you know, how we honor the vision, and just making sure they really understand, you know, it's a great place to work, provided that you're bought into the Focal Point way. And, you know, we have to make sure we do a really good job, because like everybody, we're under labor pressure, right? And so our HR team is going to have a tendency of bringing in people because they got to get people. And we have to work really hard at making sure that the people we hire fit the vision and culture of the company. And if that means that we have a lower closing percentage, then guess what? That just means that we need more leads on people. That means that we have to cast a wider net. Because you can't, if you start compromising on the culture piece, so much gets sideways so quick.
But it also sounds as though you have changed your onboarding practice. So you've identified the right people coming into the company. You've created that funnel, but once they walk through that door, you're not immediately throwing them out into the field, which is, I think, typical with a lot of companies.
Wait, that's not right. No, and I make light of that. We only did that. We're 22 years in. We only did that for like the first, 17 years or something, right?
Right.
If there's guys out there still doing that, I get it, because you're juggling a ton of things, you're under a ton of pressure, and I'm going to put you on my best crew and let's go. I think I'm going to tell you there's a better way to do that, though. You know, making a career change is a big choice, right? And even if it's something where, you know, people kind of look at hourly workers and say, oh, they change jobs all the time. I don't think they do that because they want to. And I think anytime you're getting involved in new relationships and new areas around you, new experiences, there's a degree of stress to that. And I don't think we look at it as an industry. We do a poor job of understanding that. And again, I think it comes back to the emotional quotient, right? What's our EQ? And so, you know, in addition to hiring properly, when people come in, we want to make sure that they feel comfortable and that they're given the proper training. They fill out the paperwork ahead of time. They do the background check. They do the drug test. And then their first day, they come in and, you know, we have a series of videos that we watch them. And then, you know, we also get them paired up with a mentor that kind of checks in on them on a regular basis and says, hey, how are things going? You know, and Robert, I'm going to tell you, we have so much more. We can do so much better. I mean, I feel like we do things pretty good in that regard, but I mean, we have a long list of things that we can do so much better because we are in the people business.
Right.
We serve people and we employ people. And unless we're going to stop doing that, and thanks to the peer groups, the growth network, which I was part of initially, and talking to those guys and listening and how you just think while you're in those meetings, it became clear to me that my number one job was developing the internal customer piece of our business. And that's how we developed Focal Point University, was the idea of making it beyond the paycheck, that relationship was beyond the paycheck, that we're training. We have a training track for every position in the company, from entry level labor, which I hate saying labor, we refer to as landscape professionals, up to the branch manager level, because all those different, whether you're an entry level worker, a crew leader, an ops manager, an account manager, a branch manager, you have skills that you need to keep growing and developing. It includes books that they have to read to take the next level. We have a variety of different courses that they have to take to keep becoming skilled and proficient. Plus, we have a personal side to the university, which is how do we improve the quality of lives of our employees? So English is a second language, for example.
Yeah.
Those classes are offered in the evenings. This year, we're going to have finance courses established for our people, how to send your children to college, how to buy a house, how to buy a car, nutrition. There's a whole list of things that we want to provide our employees that they understand that part of what we're called to do is improve the lives of those we work with and those we serve. And that's part of working here. Like
that's awesome.
Have that wiring in you, and you have to care about each other to that level, or it's not a good fit.
That's awesome. So final question, John. If there's some company owners out there that are struggling to get up above a certain level, that maybe they hit that plateau, what would be your three biggest experience shares on things they should be looking at to take their company to the next level?
Well, I think the question would be what are they bumping into, right? So if I think back, spread too thin, lack of talent, probably, right? Spinning too many plates, hire right. First, be super clear on your hedgehog concept. What can you be the best in the world at? What are you wildly passionate about? And what can you make a nickel doing, right? Identify what that is within your organization. And then, once you figure that out, what type of company do you want to be in that space, right? So if in our case, if it's owner occupied sites, where there's a high touch component to it, we kind of check those three boxes, right? Okay, well, there's a lot of owner occupied sites out there. Are there some that we relate to more than others? And if so, how does that impact how we behave and our vision? Like, how does that all come together, right? So I think you need to understand your hedgehog concept. I think you have to have a real clear vision of what type of company you want to be. What do you want to be known for? And then you have to hire really good people that value that and want to live that, and that they want to train up and hire more good people, right? Like at some point, it can't just be you, because something's going to suffer. Your personal life, it's got to be more than just work, right? And I think you have to model that for your people. But anyway, I think those are the three big things: being real clear.
That's awesome.
On your hedgehog, be clear on your vision, and then bring in the right people that can help you get there.
Cool.
And also, another, I'm not trying to make this commercial for you guys, I promise, but the peer groups made a huge difference for me. I can go back to consultants, Kevin Kehoe, he made a big difference for me. Of course, Bruce Wilson made a big difference. And the advice that the peer groups have given, they made my life better. And it's just stuff that you can think of on your own, but you don't, right? And just those conversations, even if you have all the answers, let's pretend that you're someone that believes you have the answers. Just talking them out with people that care about you and that are really bright people too, you may have the answers, but your answers just got that much better.
Right.
So anyway, I think, that the peer group piece is a big help for people too.
No, I agree. I was part of one, so definitely agree with that 100%. We are going to get you back on, John. I think you've got a lot more to tell our audience, so we're going to get you back over the after the new year. But if people want to reach out to you and just get in touch with you, learn a little bit more about what you do in your business, what's the best way for them to contact you?
Well, if they're just wanting general perusing about us, website's great, obviously, right? Which is www.yourfocalpointe.com. And we have an E at the end of point because we're fancy. FOCALPOINTE.com. Just go with that. That all our contact information's there. Okay. If people want to reach out, they can reach out through our web. There's a way that they can contact us that way. I'm on LinkedIn too. So I'm accessible to the extent that time allows, in the off chance that somebody wants to learn more about what I am.
Well, thank you, John. Really appreciate your time today. It's been really valuable sharing. I think the audience is going to get a lot out of what you've said today. So thank you again, John, for your time.
Awesome. Happy to do it, Robert, anytime.
Hopefully that was pure dead brilliant for you today and you got some great takeaways for your business or your personal life. This is Robert Clinkybeard along with David Anderson, and we'd love to get you and your friends to join us in our future journey. 2 quick things before you go, listeners. Check out our website, commerciallandscapers.com. You can subscribe, you can share with your friends, and more importantly, check out our new sponsor, Site Recon. We're going to make your sales process, your estimating way easier so you can spend more time in your proposals. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.